What's happening, crypto fam? Happy Friday. Good morning and welcome back to Love for Crypto. I'm Scott and it's a pleasure to have you here. I appreciate taking the time out to consume the content, so thank you. Hope you've had a good week. Last day of it. I looked a bit off then. Hope you've had a good week. The last day of it, when you consider Friday the last day, Saturday's actually the last day of the week, and it tomorrow. But anyway, IMF, recession, 80 countries needing help, pressure on the G20. Where can anyone see the end of it yet? Is anyone even panicking, or is that the right word, panicking? Is anyone really reacting the way you would expect during a recession so big? So March doesn't actually seem that far away, but it is actually quite, it's gone. It's been and gone, March. So the IMF in March, they actually declared global recession. IMF declares global recession, 80 countries request help, trillions of dollars needed. So we kind of hit a funny spot here where everyone knows we're in a recession, but no one's really talking about it. I remember 2008 and 9, people wouldn't shut up about it. Whereas this time, it's COVID, innit? More to do with COVID. So we're going to read back on what they said in March, and then we're going to read on what's recently been said for the pressure being put on the G20 now to sort it out. The debt out there is ridiculous, guys. So the International Monetary Fund has declared that we have entered a global recession, one that is as bad as or worse than the previous global financial crisis. 80 countries have already requested emergency assistance from the IMF. Meanwhile, the G20 has reported fiscal measures totaling some $5 trillion, over 6% of global GDP. IMF declares global recession. Kristalina Georgieva, yeah, what a name, Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, talked about the current economic situation during a press briefing on Friday. She also outlined measures taken by the IMF and the G20 countries in an effort to prevent a total economic meltdown. The press conference followed the G20 leaders meeting the day prior. We have reassessed the prospect for growth of 2020 and 2021, Georgieva said, elaborating, it's now clear that we have entered a recession, as bad as or worse than 2009. She added that recovery will only happen this year if the coronavirus is contained globally and liquidity problems are prevented from becoming a solvency issue, emphasizing that a wave of bankruptcies and layoffs can undermine the recovery. Interesting. Measures taken to avoid economic meltdown. To avoid a total economic meltdown, many countries have taken extreme measures. The G20 yesterday reported fiscal measures totaling some $5 trillion, over 6% of global GDP. Georgieva detailed, to support this, last night the IMF launched a policy action tracker for 186 countries to help us all see who is doing what. We will be updating this information regularly and will provide country-specific analysis in line with our surveillance mandate. The chief added, we have seen an extraordinary spike in requests for IMF emergency financing. Some 80 countries have placed requests and more likely to come normally. We've never had more than a handful of requests at the same time. Unprecedented is the word they wanted to use then, but they don't want to poke the fire too much, do they? This shit's unprecedented. It's unprecedented. Worse than. Listen, it's all right for them in one breath to say, oh, it's probably worse than or as bad as the last one, you know. And then to say some 80 countries have placed requests and more are likely to come. Normally, we never have more than a handful of requests at the same time. So it's clearly, it's changed. She further revealed that the IMF executive board approved the first of these emergency requests. For whoever, I'm sorry if you live here and you ain't watching this. If you live in this country, KYRGYZ. KYRGYZ. Kyrgyz Republic. It's basically Kazakhstan. I need someone to say that. I actually legitimately want to hear that word said by someone who knows how to say it. Anyway, I don't have to get it up now like there. Can you see that little word there? And then it's Republic, and then it's got the in brackets Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, that one. Sorry about that. So Kyrgyzstan on Thursday. So that was the first request approved. We also see a wide range of problems building up in emerging markets. The spread of the virus, the shutdown of economies, capital outflows, and for commodity exporters, a price shock. Our current estimate for the finance needs of emerging markets is 2.5 trillion, a lower end estimate for which their own reserves and domestic resources would not be sufficient. Damn, they need 2.5 trillion just to pull emerging markets out of shit. The IMF chief, remember we're in the past here, I'm reading something 6 months ago and now I'm about to read something recent. Pressure being put on G20, has something been done, has it not been done, are they all taking too long? This is 6 months, this is in the past, this shit. The IMF chief explained that her organisation is taking a number of measures and collaborating with other entities such as the World Bank. Firstly, the IMF is proposing to double its emergency financing capacity, simplifying its process and fill the gap in its concessional financing. So how would the IMF propose to double its emergency financing capacity? How would they just do that? Would they just add another currency to the basket at the end of the year? Interesting. The IMF has also approved changes to the application of the Catastrophe Containment and Relief Trust, the CCRT, which it hopes to provide some debt relief to its poorest member countries. The UK, Japan and China have already pledged their support to increase the capacity of the CCRT. What do you think? The IMF declaring that we are in a recession. Let us know in the comments section below. 30th of March, guys. 30th of March. Now, this was days ago. This was days ago in London, Andrew England in London, July 17th. So the G20 is now under pressure to boost global recession mitigation plan. Ministers and central bank governors to meet to discuss economic rescue efforts. Pressure is mounting on the group of 20 leading economies to act collectively and decisively to counter the economic consequences of the pandemic ahead of a meeting on Saturday. On Saturday, a finance minister. I'm sorry, but I giggle like that because they're blaming the virus, the pandemic, and we all know damn well it's just shit banking. Shit banking. They sat on an old system for too long. They raped it. The inflation, mate. Let's not start. So the pandemic. The consequences of the pandemic. Yeah, right, Bob. The UN, the International Rescue Committee, and a group of prominent economists have all urged the world's largest economies to commit more money to help support developing countries through the COVID crisis. Kristalina Georgieva, head of the IMF, recently warned that the global economy was beginning to recover but was not out of the woods yet. There have been a few indications that the body, which has a track record for dealing with global economic crisis, will take much fresh action at the weekend. The G20 is riddled with disagreements amongst members, which have stemmed its willingness to deliver global. Do you know? Disagreements in the G20, mate. Like, sort your necks out. Seriously, sort your necks out, or we'll just get a robot to do your job for you, mate. All you're doing is making a decision. It's yes or no. Fucking robots can do that. Dickhead. Jesus Christ. Finance ministers and central bank governors attending the online meeting this weekend are expected to discuss whether to extend the debt relief initiative they launched in May. It allows the world's poorest countries to suspend this year's debt repayments on country-to-country loans made by G20 member governments. At the moment, the scheme requires debtor nations to make delayed payments in full after 1 year grace period. G20 nations could offer additional support in the form of debt restructuring or relief. That was an interesting couple of paragraphs, that one, eh? Debt relief. Where's my debt relief, IMF? Fuck Italy and Venezuela and Spain and shit. Fucking give me some fucking debt relief, you bastards. The G20's pandemic of impoverished expectations is by partial design. The majority don't even know this meeting or others like it are even taking place. That was Jamie Drummond, co-founder of One Anti-Poverty Campaign. Another option which the G20 may consider is whether to extend debt repayment suspensions to a broader range of countries with higher income levels. However, attendees are widely expected to defer any decisions until their next meeting in the autumn. A G20 official told Financial Times, if the situation worsens, I've seen a strong commitment from members that they are willing to extend the scheme. And you will probably see that after July the 18th meeting, a signal that we'll be discussing. Oh, interesting. Sorry, I read ahead. Sorry. So they'll be discussing the extension before the October meeting based on liquidity needs of eligible countries. Eligible countries. It threw me off. What's an eligible country? A group of independent and prominent economists, including former World Bank chief economist Nick Stern, and Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. That name there, I'm not trying to butcher that. You go and ask a Nigerian to say that name, mate, and he's going to be like, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Former Niger, do you know what? He said Nigeria below. That was just his Nigerian name. The former Nigerian minister and World Bank managing director have drawn up an action plan which they are lobbying the G20 to adopt. It includes the IMF to release new allocations of special drawing rights, proxy for foreign exchange reserve assets, and right. Oh my days. It includes asking the IMF to release new allocations of the special drawing rights, a proxy for foreign exchange reserve assets that are made available to IMF members in proportion to their share of the global economy, and to provide more debt standstills and relief. The US blocked discussion of a new allocation of SDRs at the G20 meeting in April, partly because it would benefit larger and richer economies rather than the poorest countries. But the discussion is likely to be revived this weekend. The discussion is, and I want you all to bear in mind, this is last weekend, this meeting. Don't know if anything's come out about it, I'm going to have a look soon, but the discussion is the SDF the best tool? The SDR, I mean, the best tool to serve this crisis, or do we have other tools that the IMF could serve us better? There's some discussion on these tools, including the SDR. Some of the urgency to provide debt relief has diminished since April. Action by the US Federal Reserve and other central banks to pump trillions of dollars into global financial markets has eased funding conditions. No shit, where's mine? Oh, no, they give me a little bit. Helping emerging economies raise fresh debt and refinance maturing bonds at yields sometimes lower than those available before the pandemic. But campaigners against global poverty contrast G20 in action this year with the group's central role in combating the global financial crisis in 2008-9. The G20's what the hell? I mean, it's happening. Last little bit, the G20's current pandemic of impoverished expectations by partial design, said Jamie Drummond, co-founder of One Anti-Poverty Campaign. The vast majority don't even know this meeting or others like it even taking place. The UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs said the global recession was about to wreak havoc in the lowest income countries, and the response from rich countries was grossly inadequate. Rich countries have thrown out the rule book when it comes to protecting their own economies. They must apply the same exceptional measures to countries that need help. Well fucking said, lad. Stop printing yourself trillions while you're letting others fucking starve and die. You horrible rat bastard. You deserve strangling. You deserve the fucking life strangling out of you, mate. Horrible, some of these people at the top. David Miliband, head of the International Rescue Committee, a global refugee charity, said there was a strategic choice facing the G20 on funding for fragile states, which are not equipped to face the challenge alone. The G20 will also discuss possible changes to the global system of taxation for multinationals, but talks at the OECD, which aim to reach a deal on this have stalled. Consequently, finance ministers at the G20 are likely to continue to urge greater cooperation without committing themselves. Guys, I've said a number of times, guys, like, honestly, excuse me, I honestly think until we see this IMF SDR review, I think like that's going to cause a bit of movement, me. I actually do. I just think that that's what a lot of people are waiting for. Yeah, the EU is urging more G20 cooperation on monetary fiscal policy. Rich, powerful states must ensure the recovery. 2 days ago, Abdullah bin Zayed presides over second G20 steering the committee. 22 hours ago, G20 finance officials disappoint. Crisis support time for failing cooperation. G20 ministers and central bank governors met on July the 18th. From outward appearances, the meeting seemed like a non-event despite the extraordinary crisis across the board. From health, macro policy, support for low-income countries and emerging markets, progress is hard to discern. The G20's hope was that by putting economies into comas, I'm going to say that again. The G20's hope was that by putting economies into comas, curves would be flattened. While societies adopted social distancing, economies would then begin rebounding. Macro policy could help mind the gap. Asia and Europe have achieved considerable progress. The US has failed on the health front. Its incoherent response and withdrawal from the World Health Organization have further undermined confidence in America. Rebounding US coronavirus cases will pull growth down, hurting global recovery. Advanced economy, fiscal and monetary national policy responses have been strong. The US overcame gridlock. Germany abandoned its Schwarz Null Black Zero, immobilizing large fiscal packages. Congress will need to enact more fiscal support to avoid an end July cliff. Despite Europe's bold recovery fund, it is unclear when resources might be distributed and whether the protracted wrangling will have gutted confidence effects. The Federal Reserve and European Central Bank responses have been heroic. Oh my days. Fucking heroic. You really went and used that word, mate. You really went there. Heroic. The Federal Reserve and European Central Bank responses have been heroic. Really? Really? Come on, bruh. China responded with its fiscal and monetary levers through more cautiously than after 2008 financial crisis, given high leverage and financial system vulnerabilities. Emerging markets and low-income countries have less macroeconomic space, yet face steep crisis tolls. Hence, the G20 properly focuses on financial support for these countries. Print them some trillions, bro. Print them some trillions, bro. Stop fucking lining your own pockets and print them some trillions. Yeah? Or stop fucking printing them all together. Print them for everyone or for no one. Jesus. The G20 International Monetary Fund and World Bank Debt Service Suspension Initiative for low-income countries in principle merits praise, but its execution is highly disappointing. On the plus side, 42 countries have requested DSSI assistance, 5.3 billion out of a possible 11.5 billion of official support, but the private sector is not participating. Lessening the initiative's impact, this means official funds may shield the private sector from its risks. Many low-income countries have decided not to partake, fearing participation could hurt relations with investors and wasn't worth a few months of debt service relief. Given this reality, the G20 communique regrettably stated that an extension of the DSSI would only be considered in the second half of this year. China is the largest official bilateral creditor, yet its DSSI participation is mired in opacity. China Development Bank and the Export-Import Bank of China are two main agencies for official credit. But as suggested by the Financial Times, China Development Bank does not appear to be taking part. It is also unclear whether development agency co-financing with commercial banks is included. Again, the DSSI only relates to low-income countries and near-term debt service, but the initiative logic applies equally to many emerging markets. The crisis may push many low-income countries and emerging markets into unsustainable debt, necessitating debt reduction. I mean, can we make it a little bit more complicated for people? The IMF is looking to beef up its resources for low-income countries, lending and debt relief. With Congress considering another fiscal bill, the US should show leadership and international solidarity by making significant contributions to the IMF subsidy and loan resources for developing countries and donating to debt relief trusts. The US and some northern European countries oppose an allocation of special drawing rights. Many emerging markets and low-income countries have significant stocks of SDR which could be mobilised but aren't being used. The IMF is reportedly working on ideas to redistribute SDRs from large holders with little use for them to the needy. The communique says nothing on this front. Can I get a rewind? Can I get a rewind? The US and some northern European countries oppose an allocation of special drawing rights. They oppose it. That's interesting. Never read that before. The G20 apparently failed to make progress on international tax issues. Commendably, the Financial Stability Board, the FSB, sorry, elevated its quest to tackle non-bank financial intermediation vulnerabilities. The G20 faces a difficult situation. The US, though a major cause of the 2008 financial crisis, led the international response. Now, Washington has reported to bilateralism at the expense of multilateralism. The global trade regime is a mess. The world distrusts the current US administration. No. Do they? Do they, mate? Because I've never trusted it more, if I'm being perfectly fucking honest, from what I see. I've never trusted an American administration more than I trust the current one. So what are you talking about, mate? You're talking about bankers, don't trust them as much. Talking about the G20 leaders, don't trust the Rothschilds, don't trust them as much. What are you even talking about, Mr. Financial Times, dickhead? Because everyone I know, pretty much everyone I know, is more confident and trusting in this current administration than they have been about any other. You know, remember George Bush bombing everyone? Hey, you don't remember Clinton and his blowjobs? I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Wake the fuck up. Shit. There's only Obama who had his orgies behind closed doors. Shit. Either way, right? The global trade regime is a mess. The world distrusts the UK current administration. And inward Europe grapples with internecine. I can't even read that word, mate. I need to go back to school, mate. The US and China are at loggerheads. A surging China. Do you know what? What the fuck is the UN for? I'm sick of this shit. I'm fucking sick of this shit. The G20's at loggerheads. And what, right? Either the UN starts doing something or just fuck them off. Some people are being paid to do nothing. Some people are being paid to do nothing, mate. Nah, you're talking about debt, countries in debts and all this shit. What do the UN actually do? Like, what do the UN even fucking do? Eh? What did he do? They stopped Greece and Turkey fighting. But they wouldn't stop America bombing Afghanistan, no. So they'll stop the Turks going into fucking Cyprus and bombing a load of Cypriots, but they won't stop America going into Afghanistan. Oh no. What does the UN actually fucking do except for suck dicks and receive brown envelopes? Suppose lock the door, mate. Had you locked out? So the United Nations is an international organisation founded in 1945 and committed to maintaining international peace and security, developing friendly relations amongst nations, promoting social progress, better living standards and human rights. Well, I've got news for you, brah. 75 years on, you've shit the bed. You might as well just fuck off, because you're clearly not doing your job. 75 years and trillions of fucking dollars. I'm pretty sure I'd have done better. On me own. I'd have done better. I'm not fucking joking. You're not coming in here to shag your little bed. Get the fuck out. Having wank in front of me. Sorry about that. There's one there. In 2015, 70 years later and $500 billion was the UN achieved. I'm there, baby. The Guardian. I am with you, mate. Let me read this for 5 years ago, but 70 years, $500 billion later, what has the UN achieved? The United Nations has saved millions of lives and boosted health and education across the world, but it's bloated, under-democratic, and very expensive. It was Dag Hammarskjöld, the tragic second UN Secretary General who had it the best. United Nations, he said, was created not to lead mankind to heaven, but to save humanity from hell. Interesting. I feel like most of it's just smoke and mirrors, guys. I honestly really do feel like most of it's smoke and mirrors. The new safety net system. We know there's on-demand liquidity out there now. We know there's a new system that can fix most of the problems and provide solutions to most of the problems. So the only other question is what they're fucking about with. This has got to be old-headed people clinging to a system, scared of losing because it benefits them so much. It benefits the rich people so fucking much, they're scared of losing it. And not the fact that this new thing coming along is going to help absolutely everyone and enable them to get even richer. They're scared of change. They're clearly scared of change. How many of them are asking for a new reserve status, but then it's saying that the EU, you're asking for a new reserve currency, a new reserve status, and then it's down there saying that they don't even trust the SDR. Well, then what do you want? What do you want? Well, you just go to Mars. Fuck off to Mars then, mate. Just go. See ya. Just go. Go and drown yourself in the ocean or something, because I'm sick of your shit. Let's all just agree to fucking... You know what I mean? It shouldn't be that hard to come to agreements, and if you can't agree, then I'm afraid you're in one group on one side of the playground, and the other lads are in another group on the other side of the playground. You don't constantly hang around with people you don't like in fucking school, do you? So why are we doing it in the world? Fucking ranting and going away with myself now, and I've legitimately nearly got on expats then. I'm fucking it. If you'd ever move to another country and call yourself an expat, right, but then people who move to your country of birth, you call them immigrants, you're a fucking knobhead. You're an absolute fucking knobhead. Expat. You're fucking migrated, mate. You're an immigrant. Wind your neck in. Don't call another human an immigrant and call yourself a fucking expat, you cheeky bastard. You think you are? I'm an expat. I'm an expat. Yeah. Expatriate. No. Oh, so he's a Syrian I see up the street, an expatriate. Calling him a fucking refugee migrant, you cheeky bastard. Hey, is he not expatriate? Someone comes from Iraq. Oh, you come from Iraq, mate? Yeah, I'm an expat from Iraq. Oh, nice. Oh, he's a fucking immigrant and a refugee, that motherfucker. So wind your fucking necks in, expat. You fucking knobhead. Oh my, that right there is a division. It's division. Divide and conquer, motherfuckers. Divide and conquer, motherfuckers. If you're going from a Western world to somewhere else, oh, you're just an expatriate. If you're coming from from a shithole to the and yeah, some of them are shitholes. I'm saying it, Trump. You're fucking right, mate. Some places in the world are shitholes. There's one right near where I live, a shithole. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're immigrants, fucking migrants. Oh, I got all these asylum seekers. All these asylum seekers are migrants and refugees and fucking immigrant this and immigrant that. Oh, but I'm an expat. Dickhead. Anyway, sorry about that little rant there at the end. I went off on one. But it gets to me, man. It's frustrating when you've got all these knobheads around tables that are apparently trying to come up with solutions and they never come up with a solution. You've got the private sector saving their asses, mate, because they just don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. So you legitimately got private sector corporations building new tech because the government and the central banks haven't got a fucking clue. Got stories from the UK. Oh, Bank of England debates whether they're going to create a CBDC. Of course they're going to create a CBDC. Shut the fuck up lying at your deadline. Of course they're going to do it. They're debating when, how soon, how it's going to be done, the design of it. They'll debate whether they're going to make one or not. Of course they're going to fucking make one. Time for the wake and bake, you know, the dance. Guys, like I say, I hope you've had a good week. That is a lot of mess, that. It's a mess of the cobweb, and all I can say is wait for the SDR review at the end of the year again. Like, just keep waiting. We've got to be a little bit patient. It is coming. You can look into them meets a little bit more. You can look into the IMF, the UN, the G20 meetings, and see if you can get a little bit more information out of it all. But the be all and end all of it is we need to be patient. And we just need to wait for maturity. It is about technological maturity now, not just regulation and governance and all this bullshit. It's everything to do from custody, issuance, insurance, governance, and maturity. Trust me, I'm an engineer. Right, enjoy your weekend, guys. Wishing health and happiness to you and yours. Invest in yourself. Invest in the internet of value. Live long and hodl it till you're ready to let it go. Yeah. You know the dance. We love crypto. We love the internet of value. We don't like the IMF and G20 fucking about. Sort your heads out. UN. You need to sort it out. Love you guys. Till the next one. Take care. Peace.